Hello, friends. Happy Friday. The furnace has finally decided to settle down. And yes, it's only in the 40s here today, and the furnace is running, but it runs all year because it heats our water as well. So, anyway, sorry about the delayed start. Happy Friday to you all. I am here on a happy Friday evening. Glad that the week has come to an end and I've got the weekend to look forward to, and I have the Matches Memorial Friday 7 alley filled with haunted bookshop, as is the tradition here on the Friday night live stream. Let's see who we have so far assembled. There's Tim Fournier. Good to see you, Tim. Tim was giving me a musical education today, and I much appreciated. Big Dave, good evening to you, sir. Stony Lawn Cottage Pipes. Mushroom Leg. Stanley Smith. Alex Saunders Jr., good to see you again, Alec. Flint Hill Breyer, Jeffrey Feinberg, Piper on the 45, Chris Weber, John Amadon. Piper said, you can't, yes, Piper said, I know you can't hear it, but I can hear it. It actually makes it hard for me to get my words straight, so, but I appreciate that you let me know that. Michael Case, having a black Coke. Okay, blowing a pipe fast again. Well, I hope that's for good reasons, Michael, and not for annoying reasons, but good luck with that. There's Bona Piper, happy Friday. Lunch Mill Money, Philip. Werewolf, Pennsylvania. Awoo. There's Poem. Believes that Iowa is the only four-letter state in America. Well, you can win money at the trivia match with that one, Poem. There's Doug Owen. How you doing, Doug? Todd Munson. Good to see you, Todd. Ron Hardcrackers. The Smooth Piper. Hello, Peter. Steve saying, hey, y'all. And Peter, the Smooth Piper's got some haunted bookshop in the Friday 7 alley. I've got the haunted bookshop in my Matches Memorial Friday 7 alley. And you're not going to believe what we're going to be smoking with the second pipe tonight. Not going to believe. I'll give you a hint. It's not just haunted bookshop. No, Michael, you're not annoying. I just hope that your reasons for not smoking are not of the annoying variety, but you're never annoying, my friend. Utah, coming in strong there, Michael, with the second four-letter state. No, Couch, although I do have my hippie lighter ready at a moment's notice, so just in case I go off the deep end. Here we go. Gibbs Nathaniel, hello, smoking haunted bookshop and an LCS canted egg. Very nice. Alex Saunders has got a 50-50 mixture of Lane Limited 1Q and even Reese 3-star blue. It's his daily go-to. Alec, God bless you. We are never going to fight over tobacco, my friend. There's Rich B1. Good evening. You know, Alec, it's if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. It's just those are two of the things I just can't smoke. So, but that's what makes this pipe smoking hobby so wonderful, is that everybody's taste is a little bit different. Well, that's because it's an impossibility, Couch. Sort of like trying to imagine a five-dimensional sphere. You just can't do it. Ron Hardcrackers has got some McBaron vanilla roll cake in a mere lumberman and a Shiner black lager. Nice. And Rich B1 had a bit of Kendall Gold. I am, in addition to Haunted Bookshop, I am about to crack open a mango cart from Golden Road. I shouldn't do this, and I'll tell you why. If I start slurring my words, it's not my fault. I worked from home today, and it was a pretty normal Friday. And then my wife says, why don't we go out to dinner? Oh, no, I don't have time, and got to do my live stream time. Oh, come on, we'll be able to do it. And so she takes me to Margaritas. I don't know if you have the Margaritas where you're at. It's I believe it's a chain Mexican restaurant. I know they're on the East Coast. I did a horrible job pouring that, so I'm going to have to let it sit for a minute. It's chain Mexican Tex-Mex food. It's not the best, but it's a nice place to go now and again. And when I go there, I really like their they call it a naked jalapeno margarita, and I just like it. It's spicy. It's got the jalapeno flavor, and it's a margarita. Uh, get it on the rocks with salt. Wonderful, wonderful drink. And she knows I'm going to get that, and she knows I can't handle them, and she knows I'm going to have two. So we got back here about 7:30. Nice dinner. So Piper said has got a haunted bookshop in his Friday 7 with Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Yes, Crib. Yes, Chris. Combine your first and last name. Yes, Chris. I'm not as think as you drunk I am. Alex Saunders has got some Black Rifle coffee. He has to go pick up the missus at the airport around midnight. Well, better safe than sorry for sure. I'm up against Billy Joel. Well, I hope that no talent hack finally eats it. Ronnie Ewing, how you doing, buddy? Enjoying some of that Orion's Arrow in a 673. Yeah, you found that hidden gem, huh? It's good stuff. And you see Doug and Couch chatting over a Couch special. Couch sent me a gift today, and I was quite blown away by it. He's a generous guy, that Couch. Lunch Money Phillips says MBSD pipes very low in stock. What's going on? Anyone know? I'm not sure I know what MBSD stands for. Might be the margarita speaking, though. Yes, Doug. It could be a funny thing. Well, I'm just worried about what this mango card's going to do to me, but it's actually quite a low alcohol content beer, and I think I'm okay. I think I'm at that plateau where I'll be just fine. It might be a bit slow tonight, though. That's the only problem. Couch, there were two parts to your gift. One I will use all the time, and the other one I will use in Columbus. So not unusable at all. No, Rich B1, side one of The Stranger is not a great album. It's Billy Joel. Stop. Let's not do the Billy Joel thing again. Because anybody that likes him is wrong, and that's just the way it is. Ochoita, good evening to you, sir. Tim, that would be cruel and bitter irony, wouldn't it? If both Billy Joel and Tom Hanks were big fans of not just the YTPC, but this live stream, and right now they're like balled up weeping because I don't like them. That would be hilarious. And neither one of them are pipe smokers. Couch doesn't like Billy Joel. Another reason to like Couch. Uh-oh. Flint Hill had to fire up the angry playlist. That can't be good, Flint Hill. Bad Company Piper UK. Good to see you, my friend. Ochoita's got some old Joe Krantz in a Falcon Cool Way. Very nice. And there's Cypress Piper checking in. Good evening to you, sir. Good point, Tim. So Couch got a point, but now Couch gets a point taken away for liking Apple products. Thank you, Tim. Sorry, Couch, they're keeping score. It's not just me. Ah, Tom Fogarty with a pipe. Very cool. Did not know about that Rich B1. Lord Hogarth, hello. Tim Fournier is 3? So I'm going to tell you the story of why my wife wanted to go out. And there's a lot going on. It's been a rough week for several reasons. And I'll talk more about this. Ah, 3 points. Got you, Tim. Gotcha. I'll talk more about this on Sunday. I'm gonna make a video with a bit more detail and stuff because it may be disrupting my schedule for a while. I'm not going to be able to guarantee that we're going to have these live streams every Friday night, and you'll understand why in a minute. And it's a limited time thing. It's just a temporary disruption, I hope. But got some news the other day. My brother. Well, let me just cut to the chase without giving you a whole story. So my younger brother, who lives up in Vermont, and I don't think I ever talked about this, but my younger brother has autism. He's not. He's how can I put this? He's kind of socially disabled. He's not somebody that could like go into a restaurant by himself, but you can carry on a conversation with him. He's not completely isolated or anything, but he does have some social difficulties. And unfortunately, he was just diagnosed with colon cancer, and it's not good. It's stage 3. Uh, not not horrible, not the end of the world, treatable, and he's going to need surgery, and there's all sorts of issues. It's a complicated form, and anyway, we don't have all the details yet, but that's a problem because he can't. There's no way he's going to be able to go through the treatments and everything by himself. He does live up in Vermont with my sister, but without getting into too much detail, he can't go through the treatments by himself, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So something's going to happen in the coming weeks. Either my brother is going to wind up relocating here, and he'll be receiving the treatments here in Pennsylvania and staying with myself and my wife, and that's a perfectly fine option, and if it works out that way, it works out that way. Or depending on how stable he is to travel, and the reason I say that is he's actually had some rupturing and stuff that has to have surgery to repair some issues, and with colon cancer, he may have to have a resection of the colon and things like that. So whether or not he's able to travel, he may be stuck staying up in Vermont, in which case I'm going to wind up getting an apartment up in Vermont near the hospital and staying with him during this period. So depending on how that pans out, one way or the other, things might get disrupted here for a while. And I see folks offering prayers, and I greatly appreciate it, and all the support and everything. I truly, truly appreciate it, my friends. And yes, family comes first, and this is what I've got to do. And the one thing I know for certain is that you guys will be here when I get back. So, I feel bad if I have to let you down and take off for, it might be a couple of months, to be honest. Maybe somebody else can fill in or something, but I will be back, and I hope that you guys will come back as well. So that's the first part of why it was a crazy week and why my wife and I went out and drank too much tonight. While all this is going on, and I mean, the day that I learned my brother's got stage 3 colon cancer, and I'm trying to think of how in the world am I going to handle this whole thing and all that, my wife contacts me and says, they just took my dad to the hospital in an ambulance. So my father-in-law is in the hospital right now. And the wife is heading out to Pittsburgh to help out with that. He's stable. He's okay. He apparently had quite a bit of fluid built up around his heart and collapsed one lung, but they've drained it, and he seems to be stable. he's in his 90s, so this is, a difficult time for them, and it's kind of starting to signal the inevitable, which has my wife upset and so on. But uh, yeah, so that just kind of confounds the first problem, and so we don't know what's going to happen. We got that going on. She's going to be needing to spend more time in Pittsburgh. I may be needing to spend a lot of time up in Vermont. My poor dogs, I don't know where they're going to spend their time. It's just a crazy time right now. So we went out and enjoyed ourselves tonight because we felt that we had been through a lot and just needed to decompress a bit. And that's why I might be talking a little slowly this evening as we go through the live stream. Uh, yeah, so I see lots of folks saying good things about this, and I do appreciate it. I really do. Yeah, 1-2 punch indeed, raining and pouring. Yeah, it was quite a week. And what's funny is well, it's not funny, but you guys remember I asked you all to pray for my wife. Was that 2 weeks ago? It wasn't that long ago. And I didn't know where that was going, and I was having lunch with my boss the week prior to that, and I said, just in case, I want to let you know that this is something that we're going through. And my boss is really good about this kind of stuff. He said, take whatever time you need, don't worry about it. And because I wanted to take off the time to take her to her appointment and stuff. And we get the good news that I shared with you last week that everything's fine, and I told him that on Monday, and he said, okay, great. And then like on Tuesday, I got to say, oh, there's other problems. I might be working remotely for several months. Yeah, but I'm lucky. I work for a good company and I got a good boss, so it's all good. Yeah, I think it was last week, Christian. Yeah. Yeah, Couch, I don't know if I want to leave them with the neighbors. I'd rather take them with me, see if I can find a place where I can take them. Or there's a chance they could go to my wife's sister's house in Pittsburgh, and we'll work something out. Oh, Couch, I appreciate that, but I think we're going to have options. We'll see how it goes. But thank you, buddy. I will keep that in mind. Indeed, Ochoita. Indeed. You think UVM is good, John? I've had mixed experiences with healthcare in Vermont, so I'm being a bit reserved about that, but I'm sure that, you know, if things go well, he'll be able to get excellent care there. Um, Couch wants to come watch the dogs and smoke all my tobacco. Fantastic. And pipe time. I'll tell you what, pipe time. You guys should all do a write-in campaign to Billy Joel and see if you can get him to host a live stream in my stead while I'm gone. But just so you know the logistics from here and for the foreseeable future, I'm not going to plan a Friday night live stream. If I'm here, I'll have one. So just keep an eye out for the little notification. If you see a notification, there'll be one happening. If you don't see one, I'll try to put up a post or something to let you know that it won't be happening. Uh, Poem, he lives with my sister, but my sister is not, I don't want to denigrate her, but she's not, it's just not going to work out with her alone. Plus, she needs to work. She needs to work, and she cannot work remotely. So I can, and thankfully. Oh, if Joel's there, Lord Hogarth, there's going to be caterwauling. I mean, you can't have one without the other. Patrick Grant, how you doing, buddy? I see Doug and Rich are talking about Credence. And yeah, Doug, I agree with you on that. That unique sound is there's something about a Creedence song that just makes me immediately go back in time and be happy. So Robert Miller, happy Friday to you, sir. Well, Doug, if Piano Man was the highlight of Billy Joel's career, that's saying something. Uh, but music is like pipe smoking. If you like it and you're enjoying it, you're doing it right. Lunch money, Philip is going to Costco next week. Well, there you go. We lost Dickie Betts yesterday. Indeed, Patrick. And earlier in the week, we lost Whitey Herzog. Codger Jim's got Ramblin' Man on the stereo and Captain Black in an Edwards pipe. Tim, I don't know what's like chicken on pizza, but whatever it is, there's nothing good about chicken on pizza. Oh, Tim lost his mind. Okay. Well, Tim, we knew it was coming. Flint Hill Breyer says his wife quite likes Billy Joel. That'll happen, Flint Hill. Um, so, as much as maybe part of the reason why I don't like Billy Joel, and I'm probably telling you something I shouldn't, I've seen him live in concert 3 times. Um, not many performers I've seen that many times. The reason I saw him live 3 times was he was touring a lot in I guess it was the 80s, maybe 80s, early 90s. He had like 3 tours that were maybe separated by a year each. And I just happened to have 3 different women in my life that were huge Billy Joel fans, none of whom remained in my life, but all 3, oh, Billy Joel's coming, and you make them happy and you sit there and like, I gotta do 90 minutes of this. Pizza with Georgian spices. That sounds interesting, Yornik. I don't mind experimenting with pizza, but there's some things like the whole pineapple thing I think is gross, and chicken, you just shouldn't be mixing chicken and tomato sauce in my opinion. And I know there's the chicken cacciatore. It just doesn't work for me. Whitey is a legend with Cards fans. Absolutely, Doug. Yeah, he did make an art out of small ball. You're right. That was good baseball. Serve my time in purgatory, indeed, Lord Hogarth. Yeah. You have a Philadelphia pizza. Well, Tim, I'll tell you something. I can't speak for the Philadelphia pizza place you have there, but I know I travel around and I see a lot of places that say they're selling Philly cheesesteaks, and I have seen some of the weirdest things called Philly cheesesteaks. So my guess is that Philadelphia pizza would be impossible to actually find in Philadelphia. Ronnie just had chicken Alfredo and jalapeno combo pizza. You know, Ronnie, with the Alfredo sauce, I can almost see that working, but that's more of a flatbread sort of thing than a true pizza. But I can get it. I can see how that might work. Chicago pizza is not pizza. I agree with you, Flint Hill. It's good, it's just not pizza. Lurker Troy took chicks to an Iron Maiden concert. I can see where that would have been a better experience, Lurker Troy. Not that I'm an Iron Maiden fan either, but Bona Piper's going to cook me some Marengo chicken. I don't know what that is, Christian, but I'm assuming it's got some tomatoes in it. Pineapple flavored spam. Ugh. Better than spam flavored pineapple, I suppose, Doug. Well, Yornik, if you use if the peppers are hot enough, you won't taste the pineapple, so I can see how that might work. Panko shrimp, that sounds good, Mom. I had, since nobody asked, I went to Margarita's and I had the Baja fish tacos, which were quite good. Grilled mahi. I really like fish tacos. Chris Weber barbecue chicken pizza. So Beowulf and Miss Kathy. Hello, my friends. Good to see you tonight. I've missed you guys. I hope you're doing well. Um, we went to New Zealand. I might have told this story before. My wife and I went to New Zealand years ago. And we went into this small little pizza shop for lunch one day, and they had barbecue pizza with chicken and bananas. And she had to try it, and she loved it. And I thought it was the most god-awful thing ever. But at least the barbecue sauce worked with that. You know, if that was a red marinara sauce with chicken and bananas, that would have been horrible. But the barbecue sauce had a sweetness to it that tied it in together well. So I get what you're talking about there, Chris. No, Tim, please don't send me any Iron Maiden. Toast Hawaii. Yes, Flint Hill. I'm familiar with that. Although no tomato sauce on Toast Hawaii. Fish tacos aren't real tacos, says Tim. Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, is anybody here familiar enough with Mexican cuisine to tell me if that's true? Because I was talking about this with my wife tonight, and I never think of fish as being Mexican. Like, I don't think of Mexican seafood, but there's an awful lot of coast around Mexico, so they must eat seafood. And I can't imagine that fish tacos aren't a thing in Mexico. Ah, okay, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. I get it. Plenty of outdoor work and gardening this time of year for sure. Andrew Sirigliano, happy Friday, my friend. Good to see you. Oh no. You know, Mushroom Leg, I'm glad you brought that up. He found another warm Zima in his basement. You said you were drinking a Zima last week, and we were all saying, well, not if you hadn't gotten it, not unless you saved it from the 80s, and then you disappeared. I was thinking you might have poisoned yourself with bad Zima. So stop drinking old bad drinks that you find in your basement. Chicken parm pizza. Hmm. That's yeah. So I don't eat chicken parmesan either. I'll eat eggplant parm, but not chicken. I just don't like the chicken and the tomato sauce. Agriarch. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hello, good to see you. The water too polluted. I don't know what water we're talking about, Tim. Ceviche from in Mexico? Yeah, that makes sense, Rich. Doug Owen says if he had warm Zima in his basement, he would set traps for it. Bluegill is great with tacos. Bluegill is actually quite tasty. I don't know why it doesn't get more. Well, around here they're small, but down south they get quite big, and yeah, it's good eating. Greek white pizza. That sounds interesting. Lunch money, Philip. Patrick Grant's got a natty daddy beer. If Taco Bell chalupa is Mexican food, then a fish taco can be Mexican food. I agree, Michael, although I don't think the chalupa is Mexican food. Oh, Ronnie, I don't like cilantro. There's something about cilantro that it's overdone in a lot of things. Glenn Dunnington, good to see you, Glenn. Got some wine from Italy. It's snowing in Colorado, so no outside pipe. Later, he's going to have some lobster rolls from Maine. You're living the good life there, Glenn. Sounds wonderful. Oh yeah, Flint Hill. That's my favorite kind of fishing in the summertime when it's too hot to go trout fishing. Catch bluegill on a dry fly. They're so much fun, and they'll eat anything. You can put a piece of oh, anything. You put a piece of grass on a hook, they'll probably take it. It's a lot of fun. Doug says the best way to eat Parmesan is tossed in grated cheese with butter on spaghetti, bit of fresh ground pepper. That sounds good, Doug. But are we talking about chicken or eggplant there? Lord Hogarth. You don't think you eventually get immune to that? Yornik says Kelly Willy is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I don't know what that is. I do know fried plantains that you mentioned earlier. They are good. Couch is going to have some low country Virginia Burley after work. That's good stuff there, Couch. Yeah, so white pizza in general is a completely different beast there, Lunch Money Philip. Sunnies are bluegill. They're all panfish foam. Oh, Flint Hill, I've seen video of trout taking cigarette butts into their mouth and spitting them out on the bottom. They will just sample whatever comes by. So they may not eat it, but they'll take it into their mouth, and if you pull back at the right time, you'll hook them. Ah, just the pasta and cheese. Gotcha, Doug. Oh, Couch put up a picture of his new shirt on Instagram. Well, we should probably shut down the live stream and go look at that. But Couch, should I post a picture of my new shirt on Instagram? Ah, fried plantains with spices. A Ghanaian dish, huh? That does sound good. Oh no, John's pipe journey. We're so sorry. Poor man's been fasting for 10 days. I hope for good reasons, John, and you're okay. I know it's a different shirt, Couch. I'm just thinking maybe I should model mine for the Instagram world. That's right, Andrew. You got to keep that in mind. Think about the poor insects. You know, people say, "Oh, the poor trout." What about the poor insects? I think that's right, Poem. A lot of the secret to eating bluegill and other sunfish is to know how to clean them. You don't get a lot of meat on them, so you need quite a few of them, and you need to know how to take the fillets. Well, folks, my first pipe of the evening is done, so I'm going to empty that out. Now that was Haunted Bookshop, and we're going to do something interesting this evening. So that was from this particular luxury pouch of Haunted Bookshop. This, I just opened it today. This has a date on it of 02/01/24, which I assume is, it's either January 2nd or February 1st of 24. I forget which one is which. I always write, so if it was January 2nd, I would write 02 January 2024 because it's ambiguous otherwise, and they beat that into me as a scientist. So I don't know what date that is. But I also don't know if that's the date that this was blended or the date that it was put into the bag or the date that it was shipped. It doesn't matter. It's some date that's... So that's what I just smoked. And I'm quite used to that. I smoke it all the time. And it, it usually has a couple months age on it when I smoke it. And I have this, which was a very generous sample that was sent to me by my dear friend Couch. We did a little horse trading for this. But this is some aged Haunted Bookshop. I don't think Couch knew exactly how many years, but I think he might have said at least 6, or maybe at least 5, something like that. And we're gonna smoke this as a direct comparison. So we got aged Haunted Bookshop compared to nice fresh, and I'm gonna put that in the CaneRod pipes pipe-like object, pipe number 0. You know, Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy, that's the closest thing you can get to fly fishing without fly fishing. You like the nymphing, Ronnie? I'll do it when I have to. I mean, obviously, I think the dry fly game is the one that's the most fun, but yeah, nymphing's better than nothing. Sailor, Northern Briars filled with old Joe Krantz and some Totos on the side. Tito's on the side, maybe? Or maybe I just don't know what Toto's is. Kaiju Jim, am I taking 2 suitcases of Haunted Bookshop when I'm gonna have to do something like that? You know, if I'm actually gonna be up there for months, yeah, I'm gonna have to be gonna be very different. Furnace is about to come on for those of you that care. ENAS Dad. Robert's got some Scarborough in a Rivera Cherrywood. Fantastic. Yeah, so it's several years old, says Couch, and so we're gonna see how this compares to the fresh Haunted Bookshop. Yes, Tim reminded me earlier tonight that the Kentucky Derby is 2 weeks from now, and he's going to be placing some bets. I'm not going to be because I know absolutely nothing about horse racing, but I always do try to pick the winner just for fun. Rich B1, everybody knows that Toto sang Africa. I don't know if they sang that other song. I like fishing wet flies too, John's Pipe Journey, but the truth is I just never have caught many fish on wet flies. I just don't have the knack for it. But it's fun. It's more fun fishing. I find nymph fishing to be nerve wracking because you're just worried about too much. You're worried about the drift, and you're trying to keep the rod high, and you're trying to detect the strike, and you might have a strike indicator that you're watching, and there's just too much going on there. Yes, Rich, and Tim's chiming in. I think you're right about Rosanna, but that Africa is such a good song. I love that song. Hold the line. I don't know that one. Ian asked that. Hello, Phil Rivera. Segmented bamboo, indeed. Great to see you, buddy. Was that Toto too, Tim? Wow, that was a lot of cheese. Was the Love Isn't Always on Time? Was that Toto? Oh, is that the Hold the Line song? Is that Love Isn't Always on Time? I know that one. Okay, I do know that then. Yes, indeed. Can't wait to get back out myself, Andrew. I booked a Central PA cabin for the weekend of May 10th. But unfortunately, given the events with my brother and everything, I may have to cancel that. So, Phil, you're the first person in like 7 years to notice that. So, yes, that's exactly what the logo was meant to be. I'm so relieved that somebody finally figured it out. Oh, you grew up outside of Allentown, Pump. I'm about an hour south of there. Chris Cote, happy Friday. Hope I remembered how to pronounce that. Tim, cut that out. I see what you did there. That is fun, Stanley. Yes, Rich. Yes, yes, yes. Fantastic, Chris. Glad I got it. Glad I remembered. Cutthroat trout is wanted in the lakes of 3 lakes under suspicion of murder. Oh, that's a good one, Rick. Ahmad Salman checking in from Ottawa. Good evening, sir. Ah, 3 states. Okay, Yornik. Yeah, Doug, I mean, I've got nothing against graphite. I own quite a few graphite rods, but when I get the chance to fish bamboo, I like it. But it does tire you out. If you're planning a long day fishing, if I'm going to be fishing all day, I do not take the bamboo rods. If I know I'm only going out for an hour or two, that's when I take them. And if it's the right size stream and stuff. It is, Tim. It is in my head, but it is every time I go past Allentown. Peter, the Age Haunted Bookshop is interesting. It's much mellower than the new stuff. It's got more of a sweetness to it, less of the sharpness that you get, I think, from the Burley. Um, I think probably the Red Virginia has mellowed quite a bit. Oh, Rich B1, that must have been hilarious. I would actually, if I was allowed to make fun of it, I would enjoy a Steven Seagal movie marathon. Okay, Phil, I will have to. Is that on YouTube or Instagram? I'll definitely have to check that out. Bamboo and Blades. Yeah, Doug, it's got a feel to it that's just something special. And they put out these silk spelled with a Y lines, oh, I don't know how many years back now, but they just cast so well with a bamboo rod. They're not silk, but they perform similar to the old silk lines. Uh, and I like the slow action, so I overweight my rods. I'll fish like a 4 weight rod with a 5 weight line just to get that, extra bend in it and the slow down the action. Patrick Grant's got Colt Blood Red Moon in a 7LE 673 Oceano. Nice stuff, Patrick. Mick Roberts says Phil. Okay. Tuscany. uh, he's an interesting fellow, Rich. Okay, it's Instagram. I will check him out, Phil. Oh no, Couch. Poor Ilva. Flint Hill says he casts like crap, but it seems to get the job done. But that's what matters, Flint Hill. You know, I told this story before, but I took a casting class with a guy named Joe Humphrey, who's very famous here in Pennsylvania. Sort of a fly fishing icon here in Pennsylvania. And he was showing me how to do this particular cast that I forget what he calls it, but he like snaps his wrist that sort of makes the line pocket in and drop. And it's really a wonderful cast for small streams. And I said, you know, it's so funny that that works so well because everybody that's ever told me anything about casting says lock your wrist. You know, you want to keep your wrist and elbow locked. And he just looked at me and he said, yeah, those guys know how to cast, but they don't know how to have fun. And his point was, if you're getting the line to where it needs to be and you're catching fish, it doesn't matter how you're holding your hand or what the line, what the loops look like or anything else. There's more than one way to cast a fly line. There's more than one way to do just about anything. Yeah, we're already seeing some hatches there, Robert. Definitely time. I heard about that kid, Tim. He was a real jerk. Oh, Couch, to be fair, I shouldn't wonder she's insane being locked outside for unpredictable amounts of time. My goodness. I'm teasing, Couch. You're a good dad to Ilva. I know you are. And you probably feel terrible that you left her out that long. But I'm also sure that she weathered it just fine. Oh, that is cool, John's Pipe Journey. Did you enjoy fishing them? I have a rod that I got from my friend Jack that is an old, I forget the manufacturer now, but it was owned by another PA fly fishing legend, Vince Marinaro. Um, and anybody that knows Pennsylvania fly fishing knows Vince Marinaro. He wrote a book called In the Ring of the Rise and did some really interesting research on the streams of Central PA and in particular the Letort. So yeah, I actually own one of his rods, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Tim, Chuck just disappeared. Don't know how that happened. Trout will eat cicadas when there's a heavy hatch. I've heard it can be quite spectacular fishing. I've never witnessed it myself. Well, you can't complain about that kind of success, John's Pipe Journey. Ronnie, if you can, you know, you take the line out, pull on it, and just if it hasn't been exposed to sunlight and it hasn't been wet, it's probably fine. But just pull on it, look for cracks. The newer plastic coated lines really don't expire, so unless there's an obvious problem with it, you're probably fine. Yes, Phil, I can never remember her name. She was a Scottish woman. um, and tied beautiful, ornate salmon flies. If we're thinking about the same documentary. Paul Johnson, 4-year luxury bullseye flake and a well-loved meerschaum. That older luxury bullseye flake is beautiful stuff. The #1 musician in the insect world is still Neil Cicada. Oh, Tim, did you mean Sadaka? That's a really bad pun. Yeah, I think so, Phil. There's two. So there's that woman who tied in Scotland, and really beautiful flies. There's also a woman who was a tyer in Maine, and I believe her first name was Carrie, but I can't remember her last name. Who tied these beautiful streamer flies, and did really wonderful work. I saw there's a museum in Rangeley. I think it's pronounced Rangeley. It looks, I would call it Rangeley, but I think it's pronounced Rangeley. Maine that I visited that sort of showcased her work, and got to see flies that were actually tied by her. And the amazing thing about these folks tying back then was that you have to remember a lot of them were tying by holding the hook in their hand, one hand, and wrapping the thread, holding the spool of thread in their other hand. No bobbins, no hook vices, just hand tied. Megan Boyd, that was the Scottish woman. Yes, Phil. Yes. Tim hears laughter in my pain, walking hand in hand with the one I love, Tim. Yeah, Andrew, I'm the same way. I've got line that's at least 10 years old and really haven't had much of an issue with it. Oh, that's cool, John. Green Highlander. Wow. Very cool. Carrie Stevens. Yes, thank you, John. So Peter has moved into Old Dominion in his Northern freehand. Kiss the water. Yes, yes, Flint Hill. That is exactly what it was. Bob Romano. Why do I know that name, Andrew? Great book series about Rangeley. That name's very familiar, Andrew. I lost my. Oh, there it is. Thought I lost my tamper. So, hey, Paragon Piper, how you doing, buddy? We should do a show sometime to see what Bond song theme can get stuck in your head. Yeah, well, I don't want to go there. Yep, I'm seeing multiple votes for Goldfinger already, and that's the one that immediately jumped into my head and will now be stuck in my head. You want to see my new pipe? Yeah, of course you do. So if you remember, I don't know if I showed it on the live stream or not, but I was working on this square shank stummel, and I think last Sunday I showed you that I had converted it into an oval shank, and I put a little white stem on it, but I hadn't yet rusticated it or finished it. So I've got it finished, and I gotta admit I'm kind of happy. Now this is a pre-phrased stummel, so this is not really my work. I'm just finishing this pipe. It's from an old factory, probably at least 30 years old. But it was an unfinished stummel that I drilled out the airway on, made a stem for it, and did the finishing. So this is not an original creation, but I made this little nose warmer out of it. And for me, this was both trying to figure out how to use that square shank shape, which I think I hit upon something with the oval shank. It's not a perfect oval. This is just a test piece, but and I really like the contrast with the white stem. Not normally a fan of acrylic, but I'm using up the acrylic, and this is a case where I think it works well. And I really like the way that rustication turned out. Nice and craggy. So yeah, it's a little guy though. It's not the kind of pipe I normally smoke, but what are you gonna do? It was a lot of fun making it. Isn't that funny, Phil, the way one song will just morph into the next one, and that'll be the new Earwig song? Oh, thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Oh, that would be cool, Phil. It's very, it's funny how difficult it is to get that shape done just on the sanding wheel. It almost in some ways seems like it would be easier than trying to make a circular shank, but it's not. Oh, that is unfortunate, Michael. So Lester Redcoat Return is going to have to give up tobacco and alcohol and will not be making any more posts. Very sad. Gary wants to break the pipe in for me. No, these early guys are not leaving here. They're experiments. Oh, Phil, there was a nun in grade school that taught us how to sing the Lord's Prayer, and it is an insipid tune that gets stuck in my head, and I will find myself sometimes just working away, and it's playing in the back of my mind, which I guess is a gift she gave me because I'm praying the Lord's Prayer instead of many other things could be going through my mind. But yeah, it can get stuck quite hard. So it was your mom that did it for you, huh? Thunderball, that's a good one, Big Dave. Good suggestion, Chris. Very good suggestion. No, Tim, I don't recall ever singing the Lord's Prayer in church. Chanting, yes, but not outright singing it. Lurker Troy, I was just trying to think of the same thing because I saw that movie so many times that there's a story behind that, but and I cannot for the life of me remember what the theme song was. Oh, Big Dave, that must have been an experience. We're gonna ask Google because I really need to know what the theme song to Octopussy was. And by the time I finish, somebody else will check, and then I'll look up and see it. What was theme? Interesting. It didn't. It gave me the cast. All time high. That doesn't seem right. Somebody else has been saying all time high repeatedly by Rita Coolidge. I hope you weren't trying to answer the question, but so I saw Octopussy about 30 times because I was actually dating a girl who, so back then on the boardwalk in Wildwood, the movies would play for the whole summer. And that was the movie that was playing at this particular theater. And she worked in the theater. She was like the popcorn and candy counter girl. And she would get me in free. And like after the crowd filtered in, we could sit there and watch the movie together. And then, she at the end, she'd have to go out and do whatever they did and then clean up and stuff. And then we'd go walk home. So for this entire summer, I would go and meet her there and we'd spend time in the theater and stuff and I'd watch Octopussy over and over and over again. So it got to the point where I could pretty much quote the movie. And the funny thing is now it's like this distant memory where I can't even remember the theme song or anything. Very strange how the mind falls apart as you get older. You're right, Lord Hogarth. Not only it's not just my Billy Joel experiences, but repetitive viewings of Octopussy. Yeah, I'm gonna just keep quiet now. Yes, all time high is correct. Um, it's funny, I couldn't put it together, but as soon as I saw it written there, I could hear it, and yeah, I didn't like Never Say Never Again. Big Dave, it's interesting. She was actually a minister's daughter, and I was a Catholic boy, and we technically were not really dating, although we were about as close to it. I mean, we clearly were interested in one another. So the point is no. The answer to your question is no. But we had fun. I see you guys making fun of Connery's pronunciation of the one woman's name in Goldfinger. What was the Bond movie with my favorite female Bond character's name was Plenty O'Toole, and I believe it was Roger Moore who meets her, and she says her name's Plenty, and he says Plenty who, and she says Plenty O'Toole, and he says Diamonds Are Forever. That was the Plenty O'Toole one. I just don't remember. No, wasn't Diamonds Are Forever a Sean Connery? And I remember this being a Roger Moore one. No, maybe I'm just getting mixed up. It's been a long time since I've seen them. Jimmy Dean was in it, Flint Hill. I'm gonna have to watch that one again. It's Connery's last real Bond movie. Okay. It's actually funny. The line is funnier with Connery delivering it now that I think of it. Roger Moore would be a bit too stiff with it, but yeah. No, it wasn't George Lazenby before Sean Connery? Maybe I got the order of those out, but I thought that was the first. Maybe I'm really confused, but I thought the Lazenby film came before Connery was cast. I actually am the only person on the planet that likes that movie, on Her Majesty's Secret Service with Lazenby. I thought that was a really well-made movie, and of course it had, one of the greatest actresses of all time in it, confirming it was Diamonds Are Forever with Sean Connery. View to a Kill with the Duran Duran theme song. There was a good one. Pirate Frog, how you doing, Robbie? And Crafty Piping, good to see you. A lot of people were hot 39 to 40 years ago. Good point, Phil. Very good point. So Flint Hill's saying it was Connery, then Lazenby, then Connery, then Moore. Okay, I was confused by that. They bought Jimmy Dean back from the grave to sell sausages on TV. I do not know of this, Doug. I don't watch enough TV. John Amadon, take care, buddy. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a good weekend. Lazenby wasn't only one Bond movie, but I would have watched him in more. Yes, Diana Rigg was in on Her Majesty's Secret Service. That played Bond's ill-fated wife. It's a great one to rewatch, and I think Flint Hill, it's one of the ones that really got I mean, you understood the character in that one. You understand why he is the person he is after watching that movie. The other one that I really like, and people think I'm nuts for liking this one, but it's Timothy Dalton, and I believe it's License to Kill is the name of the movie. And I thought the way Dalton played Bond in that movie was exactly the way Bond should be played. He was a ruthless killer bent on revenge. And in the Lazenby character, we got to see why he was a ruthless killer. To me, that made sense. And believe me, there are plenty of people that tell me I'm nuts for liking those two films, but those are two of my favorites. Yornik says there's a new movie coming out called Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and there's a chance it won't suck. I suppose there's always that chance, Yornik. I'm not going to hold out hope, though. Uh-oh, Crafty Pipe, and that's not good. That could definitely keep you in the doghouse for a while. Yeah, Tim, but what you got to keep in mind is it made him look like a beta male, but it made you watch the transformation of him into the vengeful killer that he became. And that I thought was worthwhile. You were seeing Bond before he was Bond in that movie. It was the sixth film. Thank you, Patrick. I never knew that. I don't know why. I just always, well, you know what? Because it kind of is an origin story movie. I guess I just assumed that it was the first. Who was my favorite Bond woman? Asked Big Dave. Oh boy. This is going to sound really dumb, Big Dave, but I don't think I had one. Um, I mean, there were a lot of attractive women in the Bond movies for sure, but something will come to me. Ralph the dog, the first Muppet character ever on national TV, was on Jimmy Dean's variety show. There's some trivia, Michael. Thank you for that. And Lurker Troy's mother went to high school with Jimmy Dean. That's cool. Charlie Delgado, a happy camper. Mincer Error custom built for $17 unsmoked. My goodness. You know, Doug, Diana Rigg is my knee-jerk answer, but was she really my favorite Bond girl, or was she just my favorite actress? You know, I can't say that I thought her portrayal in that film was particularly memorable. Um, I just like Diana Rigg. So, Doug just says, say Diana Rigg. Okay. Yeah, Pierce Bronson was not a good Bond. Daniel Craig, I don't know. The problem with Daniel Craig is that the movies just kind of the scripts got bad. You know, it just became goofy and woke and everything else, like everything else. So I I I kind of associate Daniel Craig with that downfall of the whole franchise. It's a good point, Doug. That does border on obsessive behavior, and you know, we we share many similar interests, Doug, and that's another one of them. That's true, Yornik. Of the Craig films, Casino Royale was watchable. I'm trying to remember the woman. I think her name was Dabo or Diabo. Um, it was either I think it was one of the Timothy Dalton ones where they wind up going down a mountain in like a an instrument case of some sort, like a large cello case. It was one of the truly most ridiculous opening sequences. But Olivia Dabo, does that ring any bells with anyone? She was enjoyable. Yeah, Patrick, it should have been retired by that point, and I see Paragon Piper talking about the woke system killing Star Wars and Star Trek. And you know what? In my mind, those things were retired. I just don't consider those newer things to be uh, part of it. You know, I watched a little bit of this, what is it, Star Trek Discovery, and it was unwatchable. And I love Star Trek. And I just figured, well, that's not really Star Trek. It's I will say, someone recommended, someone on the live stream recommended uh, Star Trek Lower Decks, and I love that show. It's really funny. I wasn't expecting much from it, but it's well worth watching. So whoever recommended that, thank you. Yes, the David Niven 67 movie was an interesting one. Yes, Lord Hogarth. She was a cutie for sure. Star Trek Disco. Oh, really? Has Shatner finally done it, Phil? Took him long enough. Yeah, Patrick, to be fair, I haven't really watched Star Trek since The Next Generation. I mean, the whole Deep Space Nine thing was interesting, and then Voyager was just stupid, and I never paid attention to it after that. Timber Drifter, good evening, sir. I put myself squarely in the other category this evening. I've been spending a lot of time drinking too much and disparaging women, so not really. Well, the women part, the drinking, yeah. I disagree, Doug. I think Timothy Dalton was the closest. Oh, the Dean Martin. Oh, what the heck were they? Those were great movies. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue, Piper on the 45. Come on, somebody's got to remember the Dean Martin spy movies. Matt Helm? Was it Matt Helm? Yeah, it must have been. Those were. I remember one of those where he presses a button on the dashboard and out slides a tray with a martini on it. He's driving down the road and he picks up the martini and he's drinking it. And it never bothered me watching that the darn martini would have had to have been sitting in the dash all this time without spilling. We can do better, Timber Drifter, indeed. I think it was Matt Helm, Gary. That does sound right. Oh, Get Smart. What an amazing show that was, Phil. Doug, I think it is an important subject. I mean, these things have to be decided. We need an official YouTube Pipe community opinion on the best Bond woman and well, folks, I don't know why I switched over to my hippie lighter, but I have. I've got my perfectly good non-hippie lighter here. Good point, Tim. I'm glad that didn't happen. Yeah. Roger Moore was good in The Saint, Michael. Yes. Not so much in the Bond movies, but he was definitely good in The Saint. Uh, well, this second Wall of Haunted Bookshop is done, and I can say that there are some surprising differences to the aged Haunted Bookshop. It's definitely smoother. It's definitely more Virginia forward in a lot of ways, and the Perique is mellowed out quite a bit. Uh, Delicious stuff, but quite different from a fresh batch. So thank you, Couch. Appreciate the opportunity to try that, and I will enjoy it greatly. And I am not going to refill because we are actually a little bit over time. So, but I started late, so I'll give you an extra couple of minutes if anybody wants it. So let me say again that given the issues, and I'm going to talk more about what's going on Sunday. So if you missed it, you can go back and watch the beginning, or you can wait until Sunday. But there's some family things going on. Things are going to be up in the air for a while. So I'm not going to promise a live stream every Friday. I'm going to try to do it. I hope I can do it, but it's going to be touch and go. So just subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you see the notification, we'll be having one. You can check on the channel and see if it's listed. If it's not up there, I'll try to put a post up saying no live stream this week, but I might not be able to, just depending on where and when I am. So just keep that in mind going forward, and hopefully things will even out and calm down soon, and we'll be back to the same old soon enough. So with that, folks, I'm going to draw this to a close. Let me finish up my beer because I have to. It's the law. You all have a great weekend. Fantastic week ahead. I'll be back on Sunday with a weekend chat, so I hope you can tune in for that. And I hope I'll see you next Friday, but time will tell. So with that, take care, my friends. Thank you, and have a great weekend.